like this and drop it. Beautiful shifting. Drives like new. All right, so you may recognize this vehicle from another YouTube channel, and this is a 2015 Ford Focus with a 2.0 and the automatic DPS6 transmission, the dual clutch transmission. And this vehicle here belongs to MK Tech. Now, he hit me up a few weeks ago and said that he started having transmission issues. The car wouldn't go forward or back, and then this and that. And I gave him a tool to go ahead and try to cycle the forks. Now, sometimes that works, sometimes that doesn't. Sometimes if a car sits outside with no hood or anything like that, any moisture gets in there in the actuators or past the actuators, the forks get rusted. When I say forks, here's some new forks right here. He ended up buying a whole new kit from LUK. It's a complete kit. Comes with everything you need. It's a clutch that's already preset. Comes with the forks, and this is fork A and this is fork B. And it does come with the new bearing as well. So, long story short, he tried to cycle it and clean it up like you saw in my video, and did not work. And it's not that he did something wrong, it's just that the forks were just tired and rusted and needed to be replaced regardless. This car only has about 60,000 miles on it, if that. But the lower the miles on this car, the bigger the problem, because these cars were made to be driven. The transmission wants to be cycled and it wants to be shifted. And so I've seen these cars with over 300,000 miles on them with the original clutch, original forks, because those cars get driven daily and they don't sit. And in this case, this car sat for a while, I believe, and the battery was dead. Mike did get a brand new battery that I just put in, and I wanted to just see what codes it will throw. But at this point, it's only throwing a clutch B stuck engaged code. But that's because the battery was completely out and I just put it in. If I start the car and shift the gears a few times, it will trigger more codes for sure. And right now I am using my laptop and ForeScan to scan for codes. That being said, Mike is out of town today and tomorrow, and I decided to pick up his car because I got like today and tomorrow to work on this, and decided to just pick it up, knock it out while he's gone, and record a small video, short video for him and for you guys to check out what's going on with these Ford Focuses. So stay tuned and let's get this tranny out. All right, so the transmission's out and sitting on the ground. And as you can see, it is pretty rusted. Now, these transmissions are not sealed. Like, there's moisture that can get in through the top actuator, which is on the very top. And if your car sat without a hood, which this one possibly did, it had some front end damage. So possibly maybe the hood was open at some point and moisture could have got in through there. It is not sealed. Also, moisture could have got in through actuator B if you went, in 2-3 feet of water, and it could have got inside. But that being said, I mean, this is a dual dry clutch, so it doesn't need moisture in there. And when I'm spinning it, you can see the whole thing is spinning, which tells me that these discs are completely seized and stuck right now. So it's not that Mike did something wrong when he tried to cycle the forks. Like I said earlier, it's just the forks are bad and they just needed to be replaced. And honestly, I'm not sure how this thing even drove. It did drive at one point when he fixed it, but then it sat for a few days or maybe a week and it quit driving. So here we are. At this point, I'm gonna drop the clutch out and we're gonna take a look inside and see what the forks look like. I guarantee you they look nothing like that. Now, there is a special tool that I have. It's a plate that goes over this and it bolts up to the clutch and you're able to lift the clutch like that. It just takes forever to do, so the best thing to do is just flip it like this and drop it. And there's your clutch. Look how rusted that is. It smells so bad. It smells like look at this bearing. It's supposed to be clean. That's all covered in rust. The forks are shot. Yep. So let's take a closer look. The bearing is completely rusted. I mean, it does still spin and it is in one piece, which I'm surprised because usually they break, they fall apart. So it is in one piece, and technically you could clean it up and reuse it, but the kit comes with everything you need, including a new bearing, so we're not gonna reuse that. The clutch is completely seized up, seems like. Well, I do see one of the discs is finally moving a little bit. Let's take a look inside at the forks, and that just looks bad. That looks bad. It got corrosion everywhere. All right, well, let's get these forks out, clean up the bell housing, and reassemble. So I cleaned up about half of the transmission on the inside, and still needs a lot of work, but I just wanted to show a difference. That's what it's supposed to look like, or close to what it's supposed to look like. And that's what it looked like. And those spots you see, that's where the rollers on the forks would move back and forth. And as you can see, that there's a struggle there. So that was slowing things down. And when these forks aren't moving at the speed they're supposed to be moving, the clutch slips, creates more dust, gets hot, and things go bad. So if you're starting to have transmission issues, it's possible that you could clean up the forks without removing the transmission. But if it's already like this, there's no saving it. You just gotta replace everything, clean it up, and go from there. So this is a brand new LUK clutch kit, and if you get a new clutch, whether it's this or some kind of aftermarket brand, it will come set already. So that being said, we put the clutch in. Now we gotta release it by turning fork B and fork A counterclockwise 14 times. And you can hear it release the clutch. And then it goes back on its own. Just like that. So you could turn it by hand, really, like this. And then it just goes back. Same thing with A, 14 times. All right, the clutch has been released. There's only one thing left to do. So one thing to remember is there is a little triangle on one of the 6 studs on the actual clutch, and what I do is I mark it so I can see it through the starter hole, just so I can line that up with the flywheel, because the flywheel on the car has the same triangle and it's marked like that. So what you do is rotate the engine until make sure you turn it clockwise, otherwise it could skip timing, but rotate the engine until you get the triangle with the starter excess hole, and that way you're pretty set. Once you lift the transmission up, just line up the 6 studs on the clutch and make sure it snaps in. The transmission has to snap onto the engine with no force. Do not force it. If it's not going, something's not lined up. Good luck. So this is how I lift the transmission up. I slide it under the car, make sure that the triangles are sort of lined up, and I use an engine hoist and I drop down a little hook, and what I do is I lift it up from the bottom. I know some people like to use a lift. To me, if you use a lift, it takes much longer, or if you use a transmission jack, also takes longer. This way, you hoist it up by one point on the transmission. There is a little thing you can hook to, and the transmission's pretty balanced, and the thing just swivels to where you can line up the studs and get these things together. So to me, that's the best way. And there it is. And you just take a few bolts and just start one on each side just to make sure it stays together. If you don't know which bolt goes where, I recommend labeling them, because most of them are the same, but there's a few longer ones, and you don't want to put a longer one where it shouldn't be, so it don't go through your block. All right, transmission and the engine's back together. Don't forget to add your transmission fluid. This is what Mike picked up at the local O'Reilly's. I haven't used this stuff personally, but I've heard it's good. I usually use the Motorcraft, but I guess the store didn't have it. So let's pour it in. It's just gear lube, so pretty much any manual transmission fluid will work in this transmission. Do not put ATF, automatic transmission fluid, in this transmission. It will kill the internals. Also, it doesn't hold much. It holds about a little bit over a quart, which I believe, yeah, this is a 1 quart. So this full one and then a little bit more. Correction, it holds almost 2 quarts. I forget, I think the Fiesta is the one that holds a little bit over 1 quart, but this one actually holds almost 2 quarts. We'll just dump it all because the rest of it will just leak out. There's a plug on the side that's a level plug. All right, so everything is back and assembled to where it needs to be except the wheels. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and start it. I've got the battery connected, as you can see. The little DRLs are on. I'm gonna go ahead and donate another one of these to Mike. Last one, bro. And Mike, you need a new motor mount. I don't have one here, otherwise I would have replaced it, but I don't have one. So don't forget to replace the motor mount. But let's go ahead and get this thing started so it warms up while I'm putting the wheels on. We got power, that's good. We got it in park, key on. Boom. So right now transmission is doing its thing. Once it warms up, I'm gonna check codes and do a relearn process with ForceScan. So normally I would take the car out, take it on a little short drive and make sure the transmission's up to temp and everything, but somebody parked the trailer right there and I don't feel like moving it and it's getting dark. So I'm just gonna hop in the car real quick and see if it'll go into drive. Okay, it moves forward. See if it goes back. It moves back. Okay. That means that everything we did is correct and it's working. But however, the forward gear needs to be relearned. The reverse is going in right away, but the forward one needs to be relearned. So got FORScan hooked up over here, and the car is almost up to full tap. Let's try to do it. So I just did a rescan again, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna clear all codes. Okay, and then rescan, no codes. So the code's cleared. So electronically and computer-wise, everything is working correctly. So then we're gonna go into here and find TCM. We're gonna go ahead and reset all adaptations. That just clears, basically resets the computer to like new. And then we're gonna do TCM, adaptive learning. Now I'm doing this with FORScan, and some other videos that I have on my channel, I do it with a launch computer. And you can go through all these steps, which is recommended. So range sensor, that's if, you know, like you're not showing anything on the dash when you're switching gears, which in this case it is. So it's working properly. So we're not gonna do that one. We can verify that it's working, but I know it's working. So shift drum, we can do that real quick. It doesn't take long. And you can hear the transmission shifting and looking for neutral and all that. So shift drum is learned, no errors detected. That's awesome. Turn ignition off, press OK. And then you wait 45 seconds. I'm not gonna record all this. So that's done. Ignition back on. Click OK. And now we're gonna perform the clutch adaptive learning. And you have to follow the steps because it goes to a certain point. You gotta start the car, you gotta push the floor, the pedal to the floor, and this and that. And that's how it engages the clutch and adjusts it to where it needs to be. Because right now the car thinks it's still the old clutch. So we're gonna reset that and change its mind. So it's going through the gears again, you can hear it. So now it wants you to start the car. And at this point, if you have an issue, you would already have a check engine light on, which we don't. So it says run the engine. Now we're in park right now, so we're running the engine. Press the brake and hold it. Press the accelerator pedal to the floor. So I went to each gear. Now we're gonna let the gas pedal go, let it settle to idle, and then click OK. Click OK. And then it's gonna count down. Right now it's gonna press each clutch end with the actuators and find the perfect spot to where when it's shifting, it's not going to jerk the car or go crazy. So now you don't have to do this. You can just do a short drive. It takes maybe 5-10 miles. If you just do some normal driving, it will eventually adapt on its own. But I always recommend to do this because this way it's gonna go through the process and not damage any parts you just installed. Especially, you know, the clutch kit is not cheap, so you wanna do it right. You don't want to damage anything. Also, try to stay away from those cheap kits because I've had bad luck with those. I've tried them in the past. I'm like, hey, it's just metal parts. Clearly it's not. They fail eventually. So I just completed the relearn, and the clutch A is 12.9 millimeters, clutch B is 13.8. That's basically the maximum. And as you can see, the minimum is 6.1. There's basically no clutch left if you're at 6.0. So now that that's done, this thing is ready for a test drive. Let's go. beautiful shifting. Drives like new. And like I said, if you drive these cars, they will drive forever. These transmissions are not bad. It's just these cars are never driven. They just sit there. But long story short, it's fixed. Mike, come get your car later.